Okay, so first topic here we can look at is Bodmas, all right, or order of operations. Bodmas is often used to help us understand the order. Quite simply, if we remind ourselves of Bodmas, B stands for brackets, so you work out the brackets first, okay? Brackets have priority. The O stands for of, so what we mean by that is anything with a power as such, right? So, for instance, if you have 3 squared, okay, now we often say this is the square of 3, okay? Square of 3, so that's where that comes into it, or you could have the cube of 3, okay? So that's what comes after the brackets. Then of course the next one's then quite straightforward, divide, multiply, add, subtract. Divide, multiply go together, so it doesn't matter such if you do the multiplying before the divide. The priority goes from left to right, okay? So if you've got a divide, multiply, and the multiply appears first, I would go with the multiply. And the same with add and subtract, okay? They go together, so it doesn't matter what order, okay? Just go from left to right. If we look at the first question then, we've got here 6 times 5 plus 7 times 2. So you've got a multiply and you've got an add here, right? So obviously multiplying does come before add. So if you multiply these two here, 6 times 5 is 30, right? And then 7 times 2 is 14. Okay, so you multiply those two first, that gives 30, that's 14, and then of course you add them and you get your result of 44. Okay, so the next one then, you've got a bracket here. Notice you've got to work out the bracket first. So that becomes 5 times 2 plus 10. Okay, and then once you've worked out the bracket, you're left with a multiply and add. And of course with Bodmas, multiplying comes first, so this becomes 10, and then add 10 is 20. Okay, then the next question, again brackets has priority, so this becomes 8. You work out the bracket, 7 take away 2 is 5, and then we're squaring it. So the squaring is of course the O bit, okay, so the square of 5, okay, so you work that out. 5 squared is 5 times 5, which is 25, add them, you get 33. Number 4, 3 times 7, and then you've got this bracket, so maybe you'd want to work that bracket out first. Take away, that bracket becomes 8, and then of course 3 times 7 is 21, take away 8, then becomes 13. Okay, question 5, you've got a bracket here to work out first, okay, but within the bracket, you can also apply Bodmas in here, okay? So we'll work out this bracket first, but looking at inside here, we've got 18 divided by 3, take away 1. So with Bodmas, of course, if you've got to divide and take away, the divide has priority before subtract. So what I would do is do 18 divided by 3, which is 6, and then you've got that minus 1. Once you've applied Bodmas in here, you've done the divide, now we can subtract. So it becomes 32, take away 5. You've got rid of the bracket now, and that becomes 27. Number 6, divide, that's the priority here. So we've got 45, take away 15 divided by 3 is 5, add 2. Okay. Now, remember what I said earlier, if you've got subtract and add, they go together, right? Add and subtract go together. It doesn't matter what order you do it in. Just go with what you've got here in terms of going from left to right. So do the subtract first, because you've got 45, take away 5 is 40, add 2 is 42. Okay, and then you've got down here 6 times 5, the bracket here, 15 take away 3 is 12, so you look at the bracket. Alright, and then you've got to multiply, divide. 30 is the multiply, divide there is 3, 12 divided by 4 is 3, and then of course that comes to 27.